When Chapman Billies leave the street and drouthy neighbours meet, as market days are wearing late and folk begin to tack the gate, while we sit boozing at the nappy and getting through and unca happy, we think no on the lang Scots miles, the mosses, waters, slaps and stiles that lie between us and our hame, where sits our sulky, sullen dame, gathering her brews like gathering storm, nursing her wrath to keep it warm. This truth fund honest Tam O Shanter, as he frae air a nicht the canter, all there, where ne'er a tune surpasses for honest men and bonny lasses. Tam, hadst thou but been sae wise and ta'en thine ain wise Kate's advice, she told thee weel thou was a skellum, a blairin', blusterin', drunken blellum, that frae November to October, aye market day thou wasna sober, that ilka builder with a biller, thou sat as lang as thou had siller, that every naig was ca'd a shoe on, the smith and thee got rare and fou on, that at the Lord's house, even on Sunday, thou drank with Kurt and Jean till Monday. She prophesied that late or soon thou would be found deep drowned in Doon, or catched with warlocks in the mirk by Alloway's all haunted kirk. Gentle dames, it gars me greet to think how money counsels sweet, how money lengthened sage advices the husband frae the wife despises. But to our tale, aye market night, Tam had got planted unca right, fast by an ingle blazing finely, wi' reemin' swats that drank divinely, and at his elbow, Suitor Johnny, his ancient, trusty, drouthy crony. Tam lood him like a very brother. They'd been fou for weeks together. The night drave on with sangs and clatter, and aye, the ale was growing better. The landlady and Tam grew gracious, with favours secret, sweet and precious. The suitor told his queerest stories. The landlord's laugh was ready chorus. The storm without might rear and rustle, till did they mind the storm and whistle. Care, mad to see a man sae happy, even drowned himself amang the happy. As bees flee hame wi' lades of treasure, the minutes winged their way with pleasure. Kings may be blessed, but Tam was glorious, o'er all the ills of life victorious. But pleasures are like poppy spread, you seize the flower, its bloom is shed, or like the snow falls on the river, one moment white, then melts forever. Or like the borealis race that flirt ere you can point their place, or like the rainbow's lovely form, they vanishing amidst the storm. Nae man can tither time nor tide, the hour approaches Tam on ride, that hour o' night's black herch the keystay, that dreary hour he mounts his beastie, and sick a night he tacks the roadin', as ne'er poor sinner was abroadin'. The wind blew as 'twould blawn its last, the rattling showers rose in the blast, the speedy gleams the darkness swallowed, loud, deep and lang the thunder bellowed. That night a child might understand, the deil had business on his hand. well mounted on his grey mare Meg, a better never lifted leg, Tam skelpit on through dub and mire, despising wind and rain and fire, whilst holding fast his good blue bonnet, whilst crooning o'er some old Scots sonnet, whilst glowering round with prudent cares, lest bogles catch him unawares. Kirkalloway was drawing nigh, where guests and howlets nightly cry. By this time he was crossed the ford, where in the snow the chapmen smoke, and past the birks of Meeklestane, where drunken Charlie breaks neckbane, and through the wind by the cairn, where hunters fund the murdered bear. Beneath the thorn aboon the well, where Mungo's mother hanged herself, beneath him Doon pours all his floods. The doubling storm roars through the woods. The lightnings flash from pole to pole. Near and more near the thunders roll, when, glimmering through the groaning trees, Kirkalloway seemed in a blaze. Through ilka bore the beams were glancing, and loud resounded mirth and dancing. Inspiring bold John Barleycorn, what dangers thou canst make us scorn. Wi' Tippity, we fear nae evil, wi' Usquaby, we'll face the devil. The swats sae reamed in Tammy's noddle, fair play he cared nae deals a bordle, but Maggie stood right stare astonished, till by the heel and hand admonished, she ventured forward on the light, and oh, Tam saw an unca sight. Warlocks and witches in a dance, nae cotillion bred new for France, but hornpipes, jigs, strathspeys and reels put life and metal in their heels. A winnock bunker in the east there sat old Nick, in shape of beast, a towsy tyke, black grim and large, to give them music was his charge. He screwed the pipes and gat them skirl, till roof and rafters awed the dirl. Coffins stood round like open presses, that showed the deed in their last dresses, and by some devilish cantrip slight, each in its cold horn held a light, by which heroic Tam was able to note upon the holy table a murderer's banes and gibbetains, twas by my wee unchristened bairns. A thief new cutted frae a rape, wi' his last gab his gasped and gape. 5 tomahawks wi' blood leg rusted, 5 scimitars wi' murder crusted, a garter which a babe had strangled, a knife a father's throat had mangled, who his ain son o' life bereft, the grey hairs yet stacked to the heft, wi' mair o' horrible and awful, which even to name would be unlawful. As Tammy glowered amazed and curious, the mirth and fun grew fast and furious. The piper loud and louder blew, the dancers quick and quicker flew. They reeled, they set, they crossed, they clicked, till ilka carl and swat and reekit, and coosed their duddies to the wark, and linker at it in a sack. Now Tam O Tam has they been queens, a plump and strapping in their teens. Their sarts instead of crescent flinen, been snow white 1700 linen. These breeks are mine, my only pair, that ains were plush a good blue hair. I would have given them off my hurdies, full a blink o' the bonny birdies. But withered bell drums old and droll, rigwoody hags would speed a foal, louping and flinging on a crummock. I wonder did he turn thy stomach. But Tam kent what was what for brawly, thy was I winsome wench and wally. That night, enlisted in the corps, lang after Kent on Carrick shore, for mony a beast the dead she shot, and perished mony a bonny boat, and shook baith meikle corn and bear, and kept the countryside in fear. For Cutty Sark, o Paisley harm, that while a lassie she had worn, and longitude, though sorely scanty, it was her best, and she was vaunty. A little kenned thy reverend granny, that sark she coughed for her wee nanny. Wi' £2 Scots, 'twas all her riches, would ever graced a dance o' witches. But here my muse her wing maun pour, sick flights afar beyond her poor, to sing how Nanny lapped and flying, a supple jade she was and strang, and how Tam stood like ane bewitched, and thought his very een enriched. Even Satan glowered and fidged for fain, and hotched and blew wi' micht and main, till first thy caper, sign another, Tam tint his reason altogether, and roars out, "Well done, Cutty Sark!" And in an instant, all was dark, and scarcely had he Maggie rallied, when out the hellish legion sallied. As bees bezoot wi' angry fyke, when plundering herds assailed their bike, as open pussy's mortal foes, when pop she starts before the nose, as eager runs the market crowd, when "Catch the thief" resounds aloud. So Maggie runs, the witches follow, wi' money and Eildred screech and hollow. Ah, Tam, thou'll get thy fairin', and hell, they'll roast thee like a herring, and vain thy Kate awaits thy coming. Kate soon will be a woeful woman. Now do thy speedy utmost, Peg, and win the keystane o'er the brig. There at then thy tail may toss, a running stream the bairn across. But ere the keystane she could make, a feint her tail she had to shake, for Nanny, hard before the rest, hard upon noble Maggie pressed, and flew at Tam with furious ettle. But little wist she Maggie's mettle, I spring brought off her master hail, but left behind her ain grey tail. The carlin caught her by the rump, had left poor Maggie scarce a stump. Now whore this tale the truth shall read, ilk man and mother's son, take heed. Whene'er to drink ye are inclined, or Cutty Sarks run in your mind, think ye may buy the joys o'er dear. Remember Tam O Shanter's mare. Thank you.